Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. So lots to talk about on this video today, including David De Gea, Crystal Palace's Wan-Bissaka and Lille's Nicolas Pepe. I'm going to give you an update on, but as I just said, there's also lots of other things to currently talk about. So like I said, first topic of the development, I'm going to give you an update on is in regards to David De Gea, as I have been updating you about him on a regular basis in the last couple of days. Obviously we do know that he's heavily linked with a move to PSG. Obviously, we do know that Real Madrid have been long admirers of David De Gea. So now reports do say that PSG are hatching a plan, to sign David De Gea on a free next year. Obviously, this means that PSG, wouldn't have to pay any kind of fee for De Gea. And so obviously, this means it could tempt PSG, to offer, David De Gea a bigger salary. Obviously, as we all know, PSG do have an eye on their demands, to UEFA's financial fair play. Obviously, we do know PSG have spent, big in the past couple of seasons. Obviously, they've got the likes of Neymar and of course Mbappe. So I think PSG now are intending on getting David De Gea on a free transfer. But obviously, it would be a calamity, if Manchester United, let David De Gea go on a free transfer, of course, because obviously if we can't come to an agreement to get him a new contract, obviously, we'd rather cash in for him this summer rather than let him go on a free transfer, of course. And from my own perspective, I think David De Gea is worth around £100 million, of course, because he's potentially, the best goalkeeper in the world, so he is worth around £100 million. But if we were to sell him this summer, I think we'd probably maybe get around maybe 60 or 70 million pounds, because he's only got a year left on his contract. But we do know, obviously, the club have been in talks for quite a while, to try and get David De Gea a new contract. Obviously, we have not yet got David De Gea a new contract, because reports are coming out yesterday saying that David De Gea was demanding around £400,000 a week from Manchester United. Reportedly, Ed Woodward was refusing to meet his current wage demands. So as we do know, David De Gea has been a fantastic servant of the club. He has been here 8 years, of course. He's been fantastic for us. He's won everything here domestically. He has made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions. And in this 8-year period, he hasn't really stepped a foot out of line, David De Gea. I know towards the back end of the season, he was making some costly mistakes, was De Gea. But I do believe at this moment in time, I think he's going through a difficult period. And I hope somewhere along the line, Manchester United, can come to an agreement to get him a new contract. But it's looking likely, we're not going to come to an agreement to get him a new contract, because we're not willing to meet his current wage demands. In his current contract term at the moment, I think he's on about £200,000 a week, so potentially he's demanding a £200,000 pay rise if he's to sign a new contract and commit his long-term future in Manchester United. So basically, he wants to be the highest paid player at the club alongside Alexis Sanchez. Of course, as well, David De Gea has won the Player of the Year 4 times out of the last 5 years, won the Smack Buzzer Player of the Year 3 times out of the last 4 years as David De Gea, reflecting on his fantastic performances. But maybe another reason made why David De Gea, may want to leave, because obviously maybe a goalkeeper of his calibre, wants to be playing to the highest level, wants to be up there, competing, wants to be up there, challenging for silverware and winning silverware, of course. And we do know that Manchester United had a number of years of currently doing that. But this has been another issue, with Manchester United. We've let far too many players' contracts run down. Obviously, Rashford's in his final year of his contract. We have not yet come to an agreement to get him a new contract. Obviously, we've let Ander Herrera go on a free transfer, which was bad judgment from Manchester United. But look what we've done. We've given Smalling a new long-term contract. We've given Jones a new long-term contract. We've given Ashley Young a new 1-year extension, and that's bad judgment for Manchester United. So obviously, if De Gea, of course, is to lead the club, we'll want to cash in for him, because it will be bad if we let him go on a free transfer. But PSG are planning to get him on a free transfer. But if De Gea goes, obviously we're going to need a replacement for him, because I don't think the likes of Romero, is reliable enough yet to become our number 1 goalkeeper, in my opinion. We've got the likes of Dean Henderson. Obviously, he hasn't really got the experience yet, but he's on loan at Sheffield United at the moment. We've got the likes what's his name? Lee Grant. Obviously, we got him from Stoke last summer, but I think he could be on his way out. The club, Lee Grant, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. And yeah, so we're definitely going to need a replacement for David De Gea. As you all do know, reports came out yesterday saying that Man United had reportedly put a bidding of around £35 million for Andrea Onana. Obviously, we've identified him as a possible replacement for De Gea. He's currently the Ajax goalkeeper. He's only very, very young. He's 23 years of age. Is Andrea Onana. But obviously, he's had 3 years worth of experience as Ajax's starting goalkeeper. Don't really know much about him. I think he's initially valued at around 35 or 40 million pounds as a Cameroon international, but reportedly it said Manchester United had a 35 million pound bid turned down for him. And there has been quite a few goalkeepers, who we've showed an interest in, who could replace David De Gea. Obviously, there were talks of Jordan Pickford last year. Obviously, about 4 weeks ago, there was talks of Jan Blanc. So if De Gea is to leave, who would you get in as a current replacement? So now PSG are intending on getting him on a free transfer. The big news to update you on in regards to Wan-Bissaka, of course, he's been one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets, of course, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has expressed an interest in quite a few young players, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has worked out his transfer strategy for this summer, and he does want to recommend a number of young players to come in, that can grow, develop, and emulate into superstars. And obviously showed an interest in quite a few British players, and obviously Wan-Bissaka is one of them, because it's quite obvious, we do need a right back. Obviously we need a replacement for Valencia, we need an upgrade to Ashley Young, and I do believe we need a covered up for Diego Dalot. So now talking about Wan-Bissaka, reports have come out saying that Crystal Palace have told us that they want around £60 million for Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, it came out a while back saying that, Wan-Bissaka is fully committed to Crystal Palace, and is intending on spending at least another season with Palace. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka so far has spent the entirety of his career with Crystal Palace. Obviously, he's only 21 years of age, but he only broke into their senior squad in February of last year, did Wan-Bissaka, and I think he's got 3 years left on his contract. But I do really like him, and I do believe I think his defensive ability is very, very good, and I do believe he could elevate Manchester United at least in the next 2 to 3 years, of course. So now reportedly Crystal Palace want around £60 million for Wan-Bissaka, but he's been on Manchester United agenda for quite some time now, and I do really, really like him indeed. So we definitely need to get a right back in, because you can see the deficiencies in the squad. You can see where the areas where Manchester United are lacking, and we've got to resolve these problems in the summer. But if we're getting a £250 million spending spree, that should get you 5 players or maybe more. It depends what we're like with our recruitment this summer, whether we go mad with it, whether we're sensible with it. Some people saying, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, because there's a number of players out there for a reasonable figure, and if Solskjaer, as he's made it clear, he wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club, but he's not intending, as he said, on bringing any short-term players in. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still believes we can attract players to the elite level, even though we're not in a Champions League football, of course. But I do believe in the next couple of seasons, our aspirations, of course, is going to be that top 4. At the moment, City are strides ahead of us. Liverpool. City strides ahead of us, of course. Liverpool are strides ahead of us, and and we have been playing catch up. Let's be honest. For the last 5 or 6 years, we do know since Ferguson's retired. A lot of money, of course, has been spent in the club. Obviously, we've had different managers with different kind of philosophies, of course. But yeah, I think over like £700 million has been spent. But obviously, none of this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, of course. And I don't know if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man to take us forward, because he hasn't really got the experience of a manager. He hasn't got a great managerial pedigree, not to the highest level. He had it as a player, but he hasn't really got it as a manager, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and that's what concerns me. Obviously, we've got to get a director of football in before the start of next season. That's very, very essential, to change the structure of the club, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to need backing this summer. So yeah, could possibly, Wan-Bissaka coming if Man United are willing to pay £60 million for him. There has been big news in terms of Nicolas Pepe. Now, according to some media outlets, the Lille boss has confirmed that Nicolas Pepe will leave Lille this summer. This is what the current Lille boss believes. I think he's initially rated at around 69 or 70 million pounds. Is Nicolas Pepe. The likes of Manchester United have been interested in him. Obviously, Arsenal have been interested in him, and a number of other clubs have been interested in Nicolas Pepe. He's the obvious candidate for the right wing, because that's obviously an area where Manchester United are lacking. Obviously, we do want to recommend a right winger to come in, and obviously, Nicolas Pepe is primarily a winner. He can score goals, he can provide, he's got immense talent, and he's only 23 years of age. But I do believe he's got all the capabilities and the attributes, to succeed in the Premier League as Nicolas Pepe. And I do believe it would be the next step for him if he came to the Premier League. So far he has spent the entirety of his career with France. He has been at Lille a couple of seasons now, but it has confirmed Man United have been in talks with Lille, to sign Nicolas Pepe. So I'd love Nicolas Pepe, to come to Manchester United. I think Lille, as I said, would want around 69 or 70 million pounds for him. But yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him, currently going on. So yeah, I'd love him, to come to Manchester United again. Very, very young, as I said. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him, and I think he'd blend in very, very well in our attacking line. If he wants to come in, Nicolas Pepe. So the little boss has confirmed that he will leave this summer. So it would be likely that he could be playing his trade in the Premier League for next season, of course. And big update about Paul Pogba. As you all currently know, I think if Paul Pogba wants to make his move to Real Madrid, I think he's got to currently put his transfer request in Paul Pogba, because obviously at the moment Paul Pogba is holding up Manchester United's transfers, and I think Manchester United are waiting for Paul Pogba's future to be clarified before we do going for Lyon's Tango Ndombele. But I don't think we're going to get Tango Ndombele anyway. He's a central midfielder. Manchester United of course have been linked to him. Obviously, he's initially valued at around 87 or 88 million pounds. I think Tottenham are the leading contenders for him at the moment. I think the likes of PSG are interesting. I think Juventus are also interesting. He's only 22 years of age. Tango Ndombele. Obviously, he's at Lyon. He's been very, very impressive. With Lyon. Obviously, Lyon got him last summer permanently, of course, for around 7 or 8 million pounds, because initially he was on loan at Lyon. Season before this one, of course, he was on loan with Lyon, and I think he's got a contract with Lyon until 2023, of course. But I think Tottenham could get a deal over the line for Tango Ndombele. But he's competitive, he's quick, he's tenacious, and I think we'd see him as a replacement for Ander Herrera. So I do believe he'd fit in our he'd blend in very, very well in our midfield. But I don't see us getting a deal over the line for him. We've got the financial power, to meet his valuation, but I don't see us getting a deal over the line for him, because obviously the situation regarding Paul Pogba is holding up our transfers, including Tango Ndombele. So it did say Man United are going to go in for him, when we know Man United are going to go in for Tango Ndombele when Paul Pogba's future has been clarified. But like I said, going back to Paul Pogba, he's got to put this transfer request in, of course, because obviously he does want to make the move to Real Madrid. Obviously, as we all know, recent reports have been saying that based on Paul Pogba's 13 million a year wage demands, it did say talks between Paul Pogba and Real Madrid had currently stalled, based on his 13 million a year wage demands. But reportedly now Paul Pogba is willing to lower his current wage demand, so he can make the move to Real Madrid. Obviously, we do know Paul Pogba may be one of the main reasons he's leaving, because maybe he wants to be playing to the highest level, maybe he wants to be playing to the highest level, maybe he wants to be up there challenging and winning trophies, and maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, and he's not getting this at Manchester United. And to be quite honest with you, I think it did say Man United want around 160 million for him. I don't think we'll get 160 million pounds for Paul Pogba, but I think it would be beneficial if we get rid of him, because it will help us with our rebuilding process, and it will, of course, help us over our transition. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer spoke to Paul Pogba a while back, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still believes he'll be at Manchester United next season. Manchester United have been in negotiations, to get Paul Pogba a new contract. Obviously, he's still got 3 years left on his contract term as Paul Pogba, but we do know, at least in the last couple of weeks, Paul Pogba's agent has been in the process of finding him a new club. Obviously, weeks ago, Paul Pogba, was talking about his dream to play for Real Madrid. Obviously, we know Zinedine Zidane is a big admirer of the player. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane's identified his two main targets, and that's obviously, Paul Pogba and Eden Hazard. Obviously, now they have got a deal over the line for Eden Hazard. Hasn't been finalised as yet, but I think they have agreed, Real Madrid and Chelsea have agreed the fee, the personal terms have been agreed, the contract term has been agreed. Now they've got Eden Hazard, when it is officially finalised. Obviously now they're focusing on, of course, getting Paul Pogba at Real Madrid. But as I did currently say, Paul Pogba's 26 years of age, so he's still in his prime. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Obviously, recent reports have said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's and Paul Pogba's relationship is slowly fading, so that's what it basically said. But yeah, if we can get around maybe 130 or 140 million pounds of Pogba, we could potentially get two players there with that money. And so as I think reports came out a while back saying that Man United were willing to offer him the captain's armband, to convince him to stay. But we have seen glimpses of Paul Pogba's best form, and we mainly saw it in that 3-month period. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager, we mainly saw it in that 3-month period. We mainly saw the best out of Paul Pogba, when Ander Herrera is playing. So that just emphasised how much of an impact Ander Herrera made, because he freed up Paul Pogba, and that's when Pogba was expressing himself. He was scoring goals, he was providing, but at least in his last 7 or 8 games, his performances have been way below par of Paul Pogba's, and that just emphasises that he doesn't want to be at Manchester United, and he feels unsettled at Manchester United as Paul Pogba. And going back last year, Paul Pogba was heavily linked with a move away from Old Trafford, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, he was linked to his former club Juventus. He was linked to a move to Barcelona last year, and there has still been reports saying that his former club Juventus are interested in re-signing him, of course, but it did say maybe Juventus would have to to offload a couple of their players, to fund the move for Paul Pogba. And I think Juventus, was it a couple of weeks back, had been in negotiations with his agent Raiola. But yeah, I do believe Pogba is going. Obviously, he's our most expensive sign. We paid £89 million for him. And as I did currently say, always getting the Galactico players, always spending big on players, doesn't always guarantee you success, and doesn't always get you in that commanding position where you want to be. Because obviously Manchester United have got a history of spending big on players. Of course, prime example, Pogba 89 million, Lukaku 75 million, and we've done it quite a lot of times over the years, but it doesn't always guarantee you success, of course. So this is why maybe some people are saying we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer. And because there's quite a few players out there for a reasonable figure, of course. And as I do say, any signings we do make this summer, they've got to fit the culture and the history of the club, as you are all aware of. But as I said, none of this squad's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. As I said, he's inheriting 11 of Jose Mourinho's players. There's still some players from Van Gaal here. There's Matty from the David Moyes era. There's still 4 or 5 players here from the Alex Ferguson era. So we've got to give him time to spend in this summer. It all went well when he was the interim manager. It's all gone wrong since he's got the job permanently. His team selections have been wrong. His tactics have been very, very questionable. Maybe we give him the job too early. Of course, maybe we should have waited till this point. Maybe to make a decision to give him the job full time or not. But if this bad run of form continues to persist going on into next season, I will criticise him and I will want him out, even though I do love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course. And so I think Paul Pogba is definitely going to be on his way out. Of course, I think for this he's got to currently put in a transfer request as Paul Pogba. And other news to give you an update on, guys. Of course. Obviously, I've been talking to you in the last couple of days in regards to Fulham's Ryan Sessegnon. Now, obviously, Sky Sports reported a couple of days ago saying that Manchester United had made initial contact with Fulham over the potential move for Ryan Sessegnon. I think he's initially rated at around £40 million. It did mention in Sky Sports that Tottenham have been interested in him. Obviously, Juventus have also been interested in Ryan Sessegnon. Ryan Sessegnon's only 19. He turned 19 yesterday, so he is very, very young. But maybe now Ryan Sessegnon, wants to be playing to the highest level. Of course, he hasn't experienced this. So far, because obviously so far he has spent the entirety of his career with Fulham. Obviously, I think he's been in their senior squad about 3 years now. Was Ryan Sessegnon? I think he's made over 100 odd senior appearances. But Ryan Sessegnon is actually the first player to be born in the 2000s to score a goal in a first team game. But yeah, as I said, he's only 19 years of age. Obviously, Ryan Sessegnon has only got a year left on his deal with Fulham. And and he's now obviously had 1 year of experience in the Premier League. He's had a year of experience in the Premier League, under his belt. Obviously, the Championship the season before. But I don't think Ryan Sessegnon is intending on spending another season in the Championship. And obviously, Fulham are in the Championship next season because obviously, they got relegated after only spending, 1 season in the top flight, Fulham. So it is likely Ryan Sessegnon will be going. From my own perspective, I think he'll probably, end up, going to Tottenham. Because I think on that left-hand side, Manchester United are okay. Because as you all know, Ryan Sessegnon can play as a left-back. He can also play as a left winger. But I think actually, Ryan Sessegnon is now primarily a left winger, of course. So so I do probably think he'll end up going to Tottenham, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But I think he's initially valued at around £40 million. I think Tottenham have actually been long admirers of Ryan Sessegnon. He's been on Tottenham's agenda, over quite a long time. But I don't see Manchester United, getting him. So I do believe that Tottenham will get him in, even though Manchester United are in for him. But he is primarily a left winger. And I think on that left hand side anyway, we're okay. I don't think we need a left back because obviously we've got Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw is very, very reliable. Obviously, won the player of the year, and I think he's still got a lot of years ahead of him as Luke Shaw. And obviously, as well, it's looking likely, we're in there for Daniel James. Obviously, there has been stories breaking out about this at least in the last week, saying that Manchester United are closer to getting a deal over the line for Daniel James. The reported fee is around £15 million, maybe £20 million with add-ons included. That will rise it to £20 million. But Daniel James, I think he's going to be our first signing this summer. And let's be honest, Daniel James is a surprise solution. He's a cheap acquisition. He's a low expectation. But the question is, has Daniel James got the capabilities? Has he got the attributes, to succeed in the Premier League with Manchester United? And can he meet them expectation levels at Manchester United? Daniel James, he's only very, very young. He's only 21 years of age. He is a Welsh international, but he did say Manchester United were close to agreeing a £15 million deal with Swansea for Daniel James. Daniel James primarily plays as a winger. You can put him on the right, but I think he's supposed to be more effective from the left. You can also put him as attacking midfielder, Daniel James. But actually, Daniel James has attracted interest from quite a few clubs. I think Leeds were in for him. Obviously, Everton have been in for him. Obviously, Leeds came close to agreeing. Leeds came close to getting him in January, but obviously, Swansea pulled out of the deal, right at the final hurdle. But has he got the capabilities and attributes, to come and succeed in the Premier League? But he has been impressive throughout the course of this season with Swansea. I think he's played over like 30 odd games. Obviously, he's only got a year left on his deal with Swansea, so he hasn't been finalised as yet. But reports are still saying that Manchester United are close to getting a deal over the line for him. And Daniel James, yes, so we've obviously got to give him the chance. He is available for a reasonable figure. £15 million is quite cheap, to be quite honest with you. So that's very, very good. And obviously, as well, we've heard very, very good news in regards to Alexis Sanchez. It's looking likely, Manchester United are going to sanction Alexis Sanchez off, which is very, very good. Obviously, we do know Sanchez has been at Manchester United now 16 months. Obviously, he hasn't exceeded expectation levels, Sanchez, as we thought he currently would have done, reflecting back what he did at Arsenal. Obviously, he played under Pep Guardiola at Barcelona when he was younger. But as we all do know, at least in the last 3-4 days, of course, he has said that the likes of Juventus and Inter Milan have expressed their interest in him. Juventus and Inter Milan have, been in negotiations with Alexis Sanchez's agent. And they've been in negotiations with Sanchez's agent, And Sanchez, of course, because obviously, Sanchez's agent, of course, has been in Italy. But yeah, I think, Man United are sanctioning him off. I think we're letting him go on a one-season loan deal. We're letting him go on a long-season loan, and I think Man United are willing to pay half of his wages off. But I'd love us to get rid of him on a permanent basis. Don't get me wrong, but we can't, because obviously, based on his astronomical wages. Sanchez, of course, is on £400,000 a week. Well, initially rising up to about £500,000 a week, based on image rights, the bonuses and all that. I think it's about 500 grand a week, and he's the highest paid player at the club. He's the highest paid player in the Premier League, and I think his wages are having a really, really bad effect on the football club. So I do believe we need to get him out. So I think he will be playing his trade next season with either Inter Milan or Juventus, and they are the two teams that are fighting it out for Alexis Sanchez. But obviously Sanchez had experience of playing in Italy, when he was younger, I think, with under knees, but he's been so inconsistent for Manchester United. When he's played, he's just so restricted. Just looks as though he hasn't been getting that freedom and hasn't fitted under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's system. Hasn't really been first choice anyway, but he has sustained quite a few injuries, so he's become injury prone as a Manchester United player. Obviously Sanchez is 30 now anyway. He's lost that yard of pace. He has potentially no future at the club, and obviously he's one of the problematic players. So looking at it, we could actually see Daniel James as the replacement for Alexis Sanchez. If you look at it, because obviously Sanchez, we mainly play him on the left. I know he can play in other positions, but when we've played Sanchez, we mainly play him on the left, and obviously Daniel James, primarily plays on the left wing. Talking about Anthony Martial, I do believe he will stay at Manchester United even if Daniel James comes in, because obviously Man United will probably then think about putting Anthony Martial in more central position. I love Anthony Martial. I know his performances have been way below par in the last couple of months. This may be one of the main reasons why there has been talk that Solskjaer could sell him this summer. But there is another reason why, of course, because obviously Solskjaer did say he was ready to sell him, because Solskjaer obviously was reflecting on his bad attitude in training, and of course his overall behaviour. And but I still believe his long-term solution. We do know what Martial can be capable of on that left-hand side. He's been at Manchester United 4 seasons. We have seen glimpses of his best form in this 4-year period. We saw it earlier on in the season, throughout the course of this season. We saw it in Anthony Martial's first season, his debut season for the club. So we do know what he can be capable of. And obviously we got him in a deal we got him for £36 million from Monaco. Obviously rising up to 57 or 58, as it did say, based on goals and achievements. Obviously, the club give him a new long-term contract, back in January, we give him a 5-year contract. Obviously, Martial was linked to a move away from Old Trafford last year under Jose Mourinho, because obviously, Jose Mourinho had bad disputes with Martial. He had bad disputes, with quite a few of the players. He also had bad disputes with the board with Jose Mourinho, and that was obviously why last summer, the board were back in the signings. Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend her to come in, but obviously, Mourinho at the time said, I want to sell Martial, but Edward would, of course, had blocked this, from currently materialising. So, as I said, the Glazers have overruled, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's decision to sell Martial, and Joe Glazer came in, and he's basically an admirer of Martial, and he believes he's a long-term solution. And obviously, Solskjaer and Joe Glazer had a disagreement on the situation, but Joe Glazer, sees, Martial as the club's Pele, which is very, very good. But it would be bad judgment for Manchester United if we got rid of him, because I still really, really like him, even though his performances have been really, really poor. And but maybe if a team come in and said there's 70, 80 million pounds, then obviously, that would be definitely very, very tempting indeed. So yeah, I think on that left-hand side, as I said, we're okay. So talking about Lukaku, I think he's going to be he could be possibly on his way out. Obviously, we do know that he's linked to a move to Italy, is Romelu Lukaku. But as I said, he hasn't got the capabilities, to play to the highest level, Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, in his first season, he did really, really well. Manchester United, he scored 27 goals in all competitions. Failed to replicate it throughout the course of this season, because initially he's lost his place in the team. Obviously, we know that Marcus Rashford, his first choice, ahead of him. But Lukaku, as I said, he's still got a really, really good pedigree in the Premier League. He has scored a lot of goals, but as I did say, when it comes to him playing the big teams, he's a big game bottler. His first touch concerns me. He hasn't got that endless potential. His finishing concerns me. So I've got strong reservations about him. And we paid big money for him, and obviously if we do get rid of him this summer, we'll be looking to cash in, we'll be looking to recoup the initial £75 million that we did pay for Lukaku. But Lukaku's still got 3 years left on his contract. Lukaku's still got 3 years left on his contract. Obviously he's on about £250,000 a week. So I think it would be beneficial, if we did get rid of him this summer. Obviously, we've identified a couple of players, that could potentially, replace Romelu Lukaku. But Lukaku's been linked to a move to Italy. I think Juventus and Inter Milan, of course, have been interested in him. But as we all do know, there has been a lot of talks about, Juventus's Paulo Dybala. But again, I've got strong reservations about Paulo Dybala, as you all know. Paulo Dybala, of course, has been at Juventus 4 seasons now, of course. He has won 4 Serie A's. He has won 3 Coppa Italians. Obviously, throughout the course of this season, Paulo Dybala hasn't really had the opportunity. Paul Dybala hasn't really had the opportunity. He's been in and out of the squad because obviously, since the arrival of Ronaldo last summer, Paul Dybala has found game time very, very difficult. And we have seen glimpses of his best form in his 4-year period with Juventus, Paul Dybala. But I have got reservations about him. Some of his touches concern me when it comes to his defensive contribution. That really, really concerns me. But he still can score goals, can Paul Dybala. So if he was to come to Manchester United and he was to score goals whilst he was adapting other areas of his game, that would be fantastic. But obviously Dybala's 25 years of age, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Obviously, about 3 or 4 days ago, there was talks of Sanchez and Paul Dybala as a potential swap deal. Swap deals are actually very, very rare to the highest level of the game, especially. They're very, very rare, swap deals. In general, they're very, very rare. And but yeah, Paul, it came out, was it about a week or 2 ago, saying that Man United were initially in talks with Juventus over a potential move for Dybala, and I think the reported fee was around £85 million. But yeah, I've got reservations about him, but he still can score goals, and we need to get someone in that can score us them goals, because I said the likes of Martial and Rashford at this moment in time are not reliable enough, to deliver us them goals that we do need, and obviously they haven't graduated to that level yet, Rashford or Martial, but they have still got a lot of years ahead of him, and as I did say, I still believe they are the long-term solution. So do you think Dybala would be a good replacement for Lukaku? Obviously, as we all know, there's been a lot of talks about Lyon's Moussa Dembele, of course, in the last couple of days. He's only very, very young, but I don't know much about him, as I said. Wilfried Zaha, of course, as give you an update on my last video. Now, as I did say earlier on, Arsenal now are only willing to pay up to £40 million for Wilfried Zaha, because obviously, at least in the last couple of days, there has been, it did basically say in the last couple of days, obviously, that Wilfried Zaha, of course, has made an admission, and of course, he does want to leave Crystal Palace, because obviously, he wants to experience the Champions League. So basically, he wants to play in Champions League football, that does Wilfried Zaha, and obviously, he wants to take his career to the next level, and he probably feels as though he's good enough now, to take his career to the next level. Obviously, he has spent the majority of his career with Crystal Palace, but initially Crystal Palace don't want to sell him, but I think if they are to sell him, I think they want around £80 million at least. Some reports have said that they're demanding around £100 million at Crystal Palace, but reportedly Arsenal are only willing to pay up to £40 million for Wilfried Zaha. But Wilfried Zaha has attracted interest from the likes of my club Man United. Obviously, we do know Arsenal have been in there for him. Obviously, Tottenham have previously been linked to him. Borussia Dortmund have been currently linked to him. But he's well Premier League proven, and Wilfried Zaha, initially learned his trade in the Premier League. It did say Man United are considering a move, to re-sign Wilfried Zaha. But do you believe he'd be the right solution for Manchester United? Wilfried Zaha. Obviously, he's done really, really well with Crystal Palace. I think he's played over 200 odd games. Obviously, he's under contract with Crystal Palace till 2023. He's in his mid-20s. He's 26. Still got a lot of years ahead of him. And it did initially say if Crystal Palace do sell Wilfried Zaha this summer, Manchester United would benefit from it. I think Man United would get around 15 or 20 million pounds, due to the sell-on clause and Wilfried Zaha's deal that saw him make the move back to Crystal Palace. But he's got a contract till 2023. As I said, and Manchester United, had him a couple of years, when he was younger, Wilfried Zaha. But as I said, he never got the opportunity. He never got the opportunity, and that's why he never really made an impact. Wilfried Zaha in his couple of years. Obviously, it was Ferguson's last signing. Obviously, we paid around £10 million for him, but he never really got the opportunity. Did Wilfried Zaha, and this is why he currently went back to Crystal Palace. Obviously, he's played under Solskjaer in the past. Obviously, he had a loan spell with Cardiff. Did Wilfried Zaha? Obviously, when Solskjaer was the manager of Cardiff, so maybe Solskjaer may be keen on reuniting with him. And don't get me wrong, we have got the financial power. To meet Wilfried Zaha's valuation. We could pay up to the £100 million for him, but that is a lot of money. To be quite honest with you. But Wilfried Zaha now obviously believes he can take his career to the next level, and he wants to play in Champions League football. And obviously he's not going to experience this with Crystal Palace. And I don't think Arsenal can afford to pay £100 million for him anywhere. I think the only chance Arsenal would have of getting Wilfried Zaha is if they were willing to offer one, maybe two of their players as part of the deal. And I think there has been a couple of talks about that going on in the media. But definitely Wilfried Zaha wants to leave Crystal Palace. So do you think he'd do well if he was to come back to Manchester United? Do you think he'd do very, very well? But he can play as a winner. He can also play as a forward. I think he's primarily a forward to be quite well. I think the majority of his goals have come as a forward, Wilfried Zaha's. But yeah, there's still a lot of talks about that, going on in the media. And as I did currently say, I know a lot of Manchester United fans, would have loved Jadon Sancho, of course, to come in. But I think our move for Jadon Sancho is in serious jeopardy. I don't think we're going to get Jadon Sancho this summer. Well, probably the main reason why is because obviously, we're not in Champions League football for next season. Maybe a player of Jadon Sancho's calibre, wants to be in Champions League football. He's done well in his couple of seasons, with Borussia Dortmund, but I think he will continue playing his trade in Germany next season. I think if he came back to the Premier League, it would help him develop better. I think it would create a better platform for Jadon Sancho, and I think he's got the attributes, to come back to the Premier League and succeed, of course. And he's only 19 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him, but I think Jadon Sancho has made an admission that he's intending on staying with Borussia Dortmund for at least another year. And I think Borussia Dortmund themselves are very, very convinced that Jadon Sancho will remain with Borussia Dortmund. Has got a contract with them till 2022. Borussia Dortmund do know how much of an essential player he is, and Borussia Dortmund obviously lost Pulisic. They sold him to Chelsea for 47 million. Obviously they sold Aubameyang 59 million to Arsenal. Obviously, as well, they sold Usa Dembele to Barcelona for around 105, 106 million. Looking at it financially, Borussia Dortmund would make a huge profit on the player, but I don't think Borussia Dortmund are too bothered, because Man United were willing to pay that 100 million valuation for Jadon Sancho, and obviously he has been the club's number one priority target for a while, but obviously now it's looking likely, we're not going to get a deal over the line for him, but I do believe that we do need a winger, and I think Jadon Sancho, you can he's primarily a winner, but I think you can also, put him more centrally, Jadon Sancho. So yeah, looking likely we've missed out on him. But we need midfielders as well. I think we need 3 new additions in that midfield, as I have been speaking with you, because obviously it's looking like Pogba's going. We need a replacement for Herrera. I do believe we need a CDM. That's fast and tenacious. I do believe that as well. But I'd love Bruno Fernandes to come in, as the replacement for Paul Pogba. I think Bruno Fernandes would be fantastic. I think he's got all the capabilities and the attributes to succeed in the Premier League, and I do believe he produce and deliver the same element of the performances, that he has been doing in his couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon. And I think, Sporting Lisbon said they want around £60 million for him. Man United have been in there for him. Manchester City, of course, have been in there for him. And so I'd love Bruno Fernandes, to come in. As I said, I'd love the likes of Youri Tielemans to come in, from Leicester. There has been a lot of talks about him. The likes of Man United have been in for him, Arsenal have been in for him, you know, Tottenham have been in for him, but I think Leicester want to get a deal over the line permanently for him. Leicester want to get him permanently because Leicester have been in talks out with Monaco over this. And, you know, he's available for around, £40 million. I think this is what initially Monaco rate him at. Obviously, he's 22 years of age, he's Yuri Tielemans, so he has been on Manchester United's agenda. I'd love the likes of West Ham's Declan Rice, you know, I'd love him to also, you know, come in. I think he's primarily defensive midfielder, you know, well Premier League proven, learned his trade in the Premier League, being fantastic in his number of years with West Ham. He's been in the senior squad a couple of years as Declan Rice, so I think he'd be fantastic for our midfield. Very, very young, as I said, 20, also British, so I'd love him also to come in. So we've got to address that midfield. I do believe we need definitely a central defender, you know, someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. Already gone through it. We obviously, you know, Koulibaly is reportedly now the club's #1 priority target. I think probably Manchester United would have to break the world transfer record to get a deal over the line for Koulibaly, of course. And yeah, and I really, really like him. You know, Ancelotti has regarded him as one of the best centre backs in the world. I'd say that he's not the best. I think he's one of the best, but not the best. But I think throughout the course of this season, Virgil van Dijk's actually been better than you know, Koulibaly. That were a good signing for Liverpool. You know, Liverpool paid £75 million for him in January of last year, so he has been at Liverpool 16 months and addressed their defensive deficiencies fantastically well as Virgil van Dijk. Obviously the most expensive defender at the moment is Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, and yeah, I think he's been better than Koulibaly throughout the course of this season. But Koulibaly, of course, he's nearly 28 years of age. He is highly experienced. He's been at Napoli 5 seasons. Obviously he's made over 200 odd appearances in all competitions. He's been on Manchester United's agenda now for some time. You know, we've been long admirers of him. Obviously we're in the process of getting him under Jose Mourinho. Of course, obviously, last year I think we had 3 bids, you know, turned down over Koulibaly, but Napoli were not willing to sanction him off, of course, and he's probably going to cost you around 120 or 130 million. But I don't think Man United will be willing to pay that much for him. I think Man United would try and maybe get him for around 80 or 85 million pounds. But yeah, there was positive, you know, stories, you know, coming out about that the other week in regards to Koulibaly. But he's had 5 fantastic years in Italy, and I'd love him to come to the Premier League because he's got all the attributes, he's got everything, you know, to succeed in the Premier League. Still got quite a lot of years ahead of him. Yeah, and I think he'd be able to produce and deliver the same element of the performances, you know, that he has been doing, you know, in his number of years with Napoli. He's good in the air, he's tenacious, holds his line very, very well, and, you know, it just would be a fantastic, you know, leader in our back line alongside Victor Lindelof. So, you know, the rumours do continue to persist about it. As I did currently say, there's been other defenders Manchester United have been in for, of course, you know, Leicester City's Harry Maguire. There's been a lot of talks about him going on. Obviously, you know, Manchester United were linked to Harry Maguire last summer. I think he was previously valued at around, 70 or 80 million pounds, Harry Maguire, and I don't think the club are intending on breaking the world transfer record for him. You can't put him on the same calibre. He's not in the same calibre or level as Koulibaly out, but I really, really like Harry Maguire. He's in his mid-20s, still a lot of years ahead of him. Well, Premier League proven, of course, very, very tall, you know, which is very, very beneficial. So I think Harry Maguire would be fantastic, and we've got the financial power to meet his valuation. We can also currently double his wages. He signed a new long-term contract last summer with Leicester, so he's under contract with Leicester until 2023. I think Leicester only paid around £17 million for him from Hull City, you know, Harry Maguire. So yeah, he has been on Manchester United agenda, you know, for quite some time. So there's a lot of central defenders, you know, Manchester United have been interested in. Toby Alderweireld's obviously, you know, a very, very cheap alternative, you know, to the likes of the, you know, the Koulibalys and the Toby Alderweireld's and that, but he's nowhere near as good, obviously. But I don't think we're going to bring Alderweireld in anywhere because, as I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not intending on bringing any short-term players to the club, and yeah, but he's available for around £25 million this summer. But Alderweireld, of course, is still a well Premier League proven, of course, and yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of central defenders we've been interested in. So I wanted to give you an update in regards to this video, to give you an update of what's going on with David De Gea, as I've been keeping you up to date, you know, quite recently, because there has been a lot of you know, narratives going on about David De Gea. But now I think, is this coming from the Mirror? If I'm right, it did say, you know, PSG are hatching a plan, you know, to sign David De Gea on a free transfer. This means obviously, you know, PSG wouldn't have to pay any kind of fee, you know, and obviously that obviously, you know, would mean PSG, you know, could be tempted to offer him a bigger salary with obviously, you know, without paying him a fee. But obviously for me as a Manchester United fan, I don't want to see David De Gea go at all, but if he does go, I just wouldn't want to see him go on a free transfer. That would be really, really bad, and it would be a calamity. And I think if we can't come to an agreement to get him a new contract, you know, cash in for him this summer. It's as simple as that. Cash in for him this summer. We know I think he's worth around £100 million, but we're not going to get offered that anyway. I think we could maybe get 60, maybe £70 million for De Gea, because obviously, as you all know, he's only got 1 year left on his contract term as David De Gea. But he's saying he wants 400 grand a week. De Gea. Ed Wood was refusing to meet his wage demands, and this is probably why we haven't come to an agreement to get him a new contract. And as I did say, towards the back end of the season, he was making costly hours, and I think probably that's mainly to do with the contract situation. He may feel unhappy at Manchester United. He might feel as though now he's had his time at Manchester United, because he has had 8 great years here, don't forget. I don't see Real Madrid getting him. I think if he leaves, it's going to be PSG that are going to get him. Obviously, you know, Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. Real Madrid, as I said, were on the brink of getting him back in 2015, and yeah, but I don't see, you know, Real Madrid are getting him, of course. But if he is to leave, who would you get as the replacement for David De Gea? So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.